Putin announced a change in the nuclear doctrine of the Russian Federation. It is noteworthy that back in June, the issue of the possibility of nuclear weapons was raised at the St. Petersburg Economic Forum, and then the Russian president stated that there was no corresponding level of threat. However, already in September, based on published information, the Kremlin significantly heightened the possibility of using nuclear weapons. The external entourage of this decision is noteworthy. Documents of this order, as a rule, are developed without unnecessary coverage in the press and become known to the press only after the publication of their open part. In this case, we are dealing with PR support for the decision even before the appearance of the text of the new doctrine. Moreover, Putin's speech contains a number of political theses but is maximally devoid of specifics on the mechanisms of using nuclear weapons. Putin said that he could strike, but did not say a word about its possible scale in each of the scenarios he voiced, which naturally leaves room for a number of recipients of information. The second component is the time of decision-making and the corresponding statements. Here, several processes coverage at once. First, the attack of the Ukrainian armed forces on the Kursk region became a surprise for the Kremlin and an information pretext, forcing even a number of controlled resources to publicly doubt the effectiveness of the so-called special military operation. The attempt to squeeze out the Ukrainian forces has not yet yielded any results for Russia. At the same time, Russia, despite its advance in the Donetsk region, has not been able to capture any large cities. That is, it was not possible to provide a picture of victory at the front to neutralize the negative impact of the Kursk operation. In recent months, the Ukrainian armed forces have significantly increased the intensity of strikes on the rear areas of Russia and were able to hit several extremely important and noticeable to the average person targets. We are talking about oil and weapons depots. The process of transferring aviation to Ukraine has begun, and in recent weeks there have been discussions about the advisability of allowing Ukraine to use long-range Western weapons to strike rear areas of Russia. So Putin's public communication on the topic of the possible use of nuclear weapons is rather an information operation, or if you like, nuclear blackmail. This opinion is also held in the US and EU. As Peter Stano, a representative of the European Union Foreign Affairs Service, stated, Putin's statements about his readiness to use nuclear weapons in the event of an attack on Russia with conventional weapons and plans to change Russia's military doctrine for this purpose indicate his irresponsible behavior and desire to undermine international security.
Putin is playing gamble with his nuclear arsenal. So this is just the continuation of the very irresponsible and unacceptable behavior on the side of Putin, showing basically to the whole world, especially during the United Nations General Assembly High-Level Week, his true face, that he doesn't shy away from playing the nuclear gamble over and over again. So we, of course, strongly reject these threats, and the position of the European Union remains unchanged. And we are trying to convey this position also to the other partners, exactly pointing to them, other partners in the international community, pointing to them how reckless and how irresponsible behavior we see from the side of someone who is representing a country that is a permanent member of the Security Council, that is charged. The task of the Security Council is to maintain peace in the world. But he is undermining this. So this is fitting the pattern of his behavior so far, unveiling his true face during a very important high-level international event going on right now in New York.
Russian blackmail is unlikely to quickly change the volume of aid provided to Ukraine, but it may well become an additional argument for politicians who oppose moving the war to the Russian territory. At the same time, the revision of Russia's nuclear doctrine happened precisely at the time of Zelensky's visit to the USA, which once again demonstrates how Putin subtly senses the West's fears and quite successfully plays on them. During the entire time of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, it was not possible to cure the Western elites of the fear of a nuclear war with Russia, which has haunted them since the Cold War. Analyzing Putin's new doctrine makes no sense, because aggression against Russia by any non-nuclear state, but with the participation or support of a nuclear state, has already occurred. Western equipment driven by a Ukrainian soldier moves through the territory of the Kursk region. Therefore, one can only guess what Putin will consider aggression and whether he will take into account the realities on the ground. But still, not everything is so good from Putin's point of view, because the renewal of the nuclear doctrine and threats, according to his plan, allegedly was to be preceded by the full success test of Sarmat intercontinental missile, but it could not take off. And in fact, Putin's nuclear blackmail is fear of Ukrainian weapons, which deprives the Russian Federation of strategic weapons depots, harms Putin's ability to continue his war of terror.